Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gabriel with another Fan TV, man. Back at you, another video. Like the content of this video, go and smash that like button. Like the content of this channel, go ahead and subscribe, man. Look, yeah, at a different location, but still got to talk about that Ravens football, man. The Ravens win this playoff game, 34-10, after having a lot of first half struggles. So let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about this game that the Ravens just played. All right, so first of all, as far as injuries go, the Ravens came out of this game pretty good. I didn't see anybody really get hurt. I think Ronald Darby got hurt at the end of the game, but hopefully he's all right. And I think Patrick Queen had a little bit of an injury, but he stayed on the field and played through it. So the Ravens came through out pretty good when it came to injuries, right? All right. So stand-up performers, right? First, I think we got to start off with the entire Ravens defense. Okay, the Texans had really 3 points this entire game. Okay, they get a punt return touchdown. The Ravens special teams has not been I don't think it has been a strength this year. But it came back to bite them in this game a little bit. So the Texans get a punt return touchdown in this game. But for the most part, man, this is about this Ravens defense. This Ravens defense was able to hold the Texans to really 3 points on offense, right? 213 yards total, 175 passing yards with C.J. Stroud. Let's go look at C.J. Stroud's stats for a second. Hold on. 19 for 33, 175 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Nico Collins had 5 catches, 68 yards. All right, so the Ravens really did their thing versus this Texans offense. All right, now the run game could not get going at all for Houston. The Ravens shut that down from the jump. They made the Texans one-dimensional very, very early on in the game, and they forced a rookie quarterback to have to throw the ball 30 plus times in the playoff game. Right, that's a tough ask, especially for a rookie, like I said. So, in the game preview, one of my keys was, can the Ravens confuse C.J. Stroud? Now, I'm not saying he was entirely confused out there, but they did make him hold the ball, double clutch, sending different pressures, simulators, different things like that. Mike Macdonald, from start to finish, had a really good, executed, well thought out game plan, right? If I could criticize Mike Macdonald, there was only one thing I disliked was end of the first half, 2 minutes left. They get the Texans to like a 3rd and 13. And the Ravens play everybody 12, 13 yards back at the first down line. Instead of sending that pressure to C.J. Stroud, Stroud throws a dot over the middle to Nico Collins, which is really their biggest play of the game, right? But besides that, Macdonald was aggressive all game long, right? So stand-up performer, that's one of them, Mike Macdonald, the entire defense. But one particular player I want to point out, Arthur Burlett has been one of the best signings for the Ravens this year, right? When the Ravens signed him in training camp, I didn't think much of it. I thought he'd just be another guy on the roster, okay? He has proven to be a massive addition to this team, all right? He may be, I don't know how you really track this, but he may be one of the best blitzers in the NFL. Macdonald had to send Arthur Marlette off the edge 4 times this game, and every time he came off the edge, he got pressure. Did he get a sack? No, but he got pressure every single time. He forced a bad throw, forced a rush. I think he even forced an intentional grounding on C.J. Stroud, right? So shout out to Arthur Marlette, man. I love the way he played the game. He's been one of the Ravens, really, like I said, biggest additions, right? He's not going to show up on the stat sheet. Only 2 tackles and things like that. But if you watch this game, you saw Arthur Marlette's impact, right? Kyle Hamilton, I thought, had a really good game as well. He was all over the field. Could have had an interception, but that was a tough play to make, all right? Next stand-up performer, offensive side of the ball, man, Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely came up big time in this game, especially in the second half. Only had 2 catches, 34 yards, but I really like what he did out there. Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers. These guys, the numbers aren't eye-popping, right? But they play good games, right? Now, the main guy that I want to focus on, the main guy I want to talk about, obviously, is Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson had a lot of things said about him going into this game, about his playoff record, 1-3, this and that. And when the game started, I thought everyone in the office was either rusty or they looked a little tight, like there was a little some tension going on, just because it is a big game, right? But once they got settled down, especially in that second half, they took off, right? And Lamar Jackson showed why he's the engine of this team, why he's the MVP of the league, right? Several big throws, and for me, I think that this shows that Lamar Jackson was kind of saving the scrambling for the playoffs, right? Now, he still led the NFL in scramble, still led the NFL in yards off of scramble, but he really could have had even more this year, but at times he was kind of reserved. This game, when he didn't like what he saw, he took off. And I love the decisiveness from Lamar Jackson right there, right? That was a major key in keeping this Texans defense off balance, right? In the first half, Texas has had a lot of success with blitzes and things like that. Um, and the game plan for me was a little conservative in the first half, right? Lamar Jackson did the best he could, led the Ravens to a touchdown drive, field goal. So you end up going into the halftime 10-10, right? So this is where everything changes in the game. The Ravens come out second half and they put the ball squarely in Lamar Jackson's hand, right? Say, look, if we're going to go down in this game, we're going to go down with the MVP. And Lamar Jackson delivered in this game, man. So I thought that was big. So I want to talk about the second half more so, right? And I want to give a big shout out to Todd Monken, okay? Because Todd Monken adjusted in this game, right? If there was one thing that was the main thing we said about when Greg Roman was the OC for the Ravens, right, was that he never had a plan B. If plan A didn't work, guess what? We lost. Guess what? We better keep trying plan A and hopefully the defense doesn't know what's coming, right? The Ravens were an extremely easy to defend team when Greg Roman was the OC, right? If they can't hit you with that right hand, they have no combination. They have no other punches in the arsenal. It's all about that one punch. This game, Todd Monken came out, I thought, very conservatively, right? Now listen, one of my keys to the game was running the football, right? But once the run game wasn't working as much in the first half, especially on early downs, I would like to see him open up the game a little bit more in the first half, but they played it kind of conservatively, right? Now, second half, they opened it up, right? Lamar Jackson, quick passing game, get the ball in his hands, let Lamar make all the decisions out there, right? It was a beautiful game plan in the second half. The biggest thing about Todd Monken that I said in the offseason was his ability to adjust to his personnel, right? It seems like that's just not a personnel thing. That's just a Todd Monken's to ability to adjust to anything, right? That's what he is. He's an adjuster right there, right? So this game really came down to the Ravens being in the second half and dominating the ball in the second half of this game, right? The Ravens go 24-0 in the second half of this football game, right? To win 34-10, right? So that is amazing. That's on Lamar. That's on Monkey. That's on these other players stepping up. Isaiah Likely in the second half, right? Um, Another adjustment that I believe Todd Monkey made that helped out. He kept Pat Ricard in the game a lot more. This Texans defense was getting after Lamar Jackson and his Ravens offensive line in the first half when the Ravens were only blocking 5 and maybe blocking their running back of Justice Hill sometime, right? The Texans got after the Ravens when they did that, all right? But in the second half, we saw a little bit more of a Pat Ricard out there. And when Pat Ricard is out there, this entire offensive line feels stabilized out there. It feels more relaxed, more secure in what they're doing. So going forward, especially for this playoff run, keep Pat Ricard on the field. He helps the offensive line out a ton. And then in return, Lamar Jackson gets more time. He gets to sit back there and survey the whole defense and pick them apart. I mean, he hit a deep dig route to Rashad Bateman in the second half where Lamar Jackson had to stand in the pocket for 4.5 seconds, right? Just bouncing, just looking for Rashad Bateman to get open. He finally gets open and he hits him, right? So these kind of plays are possible when you have that 6 offensive lineman, because let's be honest, that's what Pat Ricard is. He's a 6 offensive lineman, right? So that was a great adjustment, right? The multiple keepers off of the under center play action sweeps, right? The fake QB sweep touchdown to Isaiah Likely, great play. The QB draw a touchdown, great play. So Lamar Jackson showed why he's the MVP, why he's the most valuable player in this league. But I also can't get out of here without giving credit to Todd Monken, like I said during this whole section right here, right? Todd Monken showed why him being on this Ravens staff was such a major addition, something that was so needed, right? Um, there were questions in the offseason where could Lamar Jackson play in a different offense? Was Greg Roman the only coordinator that could get the best out of Lamar Jackson, right? All of these kind of silly anecdotal conversations, right? And that proved to not be true, right? Lamar Jackson proved that he is his own man, whoever's the offensive coordinator, right? Especially when you have a guy who has a diverse game plan who can adjust to what the defense is doing. The Ravens in the first half and the Ravens in the second half did not look like the same team. The Ravens in the second half is that team we've gotten used to seeing this entire year, and now they're moving on to the AFC Championship game, man. So, I believe the commentator said that this is the first ever AFC Championship game um, for the Ravens, for the actual Baltimore Ravens, but the first AFC Championship game in Baltimore since I believe 1971 or something like that. So when it was the Baltimore Colts, all right. So this is a pretty big deal, man. The Ravens made the plays when they needed to be made. The second half, they showed up and looked like that team that we all been expecting, right? So I thought that the coordinators were amazing this game. Mike McDonald throughout, Ty Monken in the second half. Listen, Monken made the adjustment second half for the offense to open it up, put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hand more often, let him make the decisions. And McDonald did something that very few teams have been able to do this year, and that makes C.J. Stroud look like a rookie, right? C.J. Stroud still played well. He's still an incredible young quarterback, right? I mean, you see the plays he's making; it's still incredible. But McDonald really showed that we can get to this guy, we can confuse him, we can do things that he hasn't seen yet, right? And some of these plays, you can look at it and see that C.J. Stroud, was confused by what was going on. So big time win for the Ravens, man. On to the AFC Championship game, where it's going to either be Buffalo or it's going to be Kansas City coming to Baltimore, coming to the bank. And I like this Ravens team's chances versus anybody in the NFL, man. So I'm gonna get out of here, man. Shout out to the MVP Lamar Jackson. Shout out to the offensive coordinator Tom Mungan, to the defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. Right, those three guys right there propelled the Ravens to this W right there, man. So, shout out to them, and I'll talk to you guys later this week, man. It's Gabriel, which is on the Fan TV. I'm out.